Prices are already going up on some popular items, tires, strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about President Donald Trump interviewing with Kristen Welker over on NBC for Meet the Press. Now, this was a great interview. Over 90 minutes, over 100 questions asked and answered. It was fantastic. It talked about everything. It spoke about the tariffs, which we'll get to in a minute. They spoke about national security, Greenland, Panama, China. They spoke about everything. Now, before we get into the clips, I just want to say one thing. Joe Biden could never, hear me very well, Joseph Robinette Biden could never. This guy was barely able to answer one question that was pre-planned and prepared, let alone getting on television and answering question after question after question. Joe Biden could never do what Trump was able to do in this interview. And if you have not seen it, I will link to the entire thing in the description box. If you're on IG, Facebook, etc., visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. Now, let's get to a few clips. I'm not going to touch on everything. I'll mostly focus on tariffs because that's a pretty hot topic, but I'll talk about some other things as well, including what will happen when Trump is finished. Okay, you have 2 terms, and he said in the interview, I'm not trying to do a 3rd term. He has 2 terms, so in 2028, who's going to be next? Will the MAGA movement be finished when Trump is finished, or will it continue? Let's watch.
Have built a political movement that has transformed the Republican Party. It's transformed the country, quite frankly.
Political movement in history, MAGA. Make America great again.
And what he said about that, as far as it being the greatest political movement ever, I think he's right. I think the Obama Hope and Change was probably a really big one. If that wasn't the biggest, it was up there, top 5. But whether it was the best or it wasn't, it doesn't really matter because Trump's movement has eclipsed everything else.
You look to the future, Mr. President. Do you think the MAGA movement can survive without you as its leader?
Yes, I do.
What gives you?
I think it's so strong, and I think we have tremendous people. I think we have a tremendous group of people. We talked about a number of them. You look at Marco, you look at J.D. Vance, who's fantastic. You look at, I could name 10, 15, 20 people right now just sitting here. No, I think we have a tremendous party. And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray.
Before we continue getting into Joe Biden being the worst thing for old people ever, Marco Rubio, I like him a lot. He's grown on me since the whole water bottle kerfuffle.
In the short time that I've been here in Washington, nothing has frustrated me more than false choices like the one the president laid out tonight.
He has grown on me. So shout out to Marco Rubio. You're doing a great job, sir. Let's keep on rocking.
And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding. I don't know what they're going to do. And I really believe in a 2-party system. Because it's good to be challenged. It's really good to have a 2-party. You know, it's good. Being challenged is okay. It keeps you sharp. I don't know what they're going to do.
Me neither. I don't know what they're going to do. And I've been saying it. We've been saying it for a long time. They don't have anybody. What are they going to do? And 2028 will be here before you know it. It's already 2025. Can you believe it? We're already in May of 2025. 2028 will be here before you know it. If they don't have anybody right now, they're not going to have anybody by then, unless some space alien comes down from the sky. But beyond that, I don't see it.
They have nobody. Bernie's 87 years old or something. And you know, Biden is the worst thing that ever happened to old people because he was grossly incompetent. And I think maybe for artificial reasons, you know, he had operations and things. So maybe that's an artificial. But I know people that are unbelievably sharp and they're older than 87. But I watch Bernie Sanders. He's a nut job, but he's still sharp. He's sharp as he's the same guy he was. He hasn't gone down. But Biden is really, he's the worst thing to happen to old people.
Right on, right on. Yeah, Bernie's right about Bernie. Bernie's is old as time. And I think Bernie's actually 83 years old. 82, 83, something like that. But Whether it's 82, 83, 87, he's still sharp mentally. Joe Biden, however, is not still sharp mentally. Let's keep on going.
This is a great misnomer. Is the word tariff in many cases, it's not, to me, I don't view it as a tax. I view it as an incentive for people to come into the United States and build plants, factories, offices, a lot of things. I think it's an incentive, but the thing that's not known is if you look back and see, oftentimes like China or Vietnam or other countries, not just China, because China's an abuser, but there are other abusers. Many of them are friends, the so-called, I say friend and foe, and friend is oftentimes worse than foe. But what people...
Hey, that was a bar. Hey, Trump, a friend is sometimes worse than foe. You're 100% correct about that. That was a bar. Put it on the T-shirt.
People don't understand is, and this is a lot, the country eats the tariff. The company eats the tariff. And it's not passed along at all.
Well, some CEOs are saying they're going to have to pass it on. So how do you deal with those CEOs?
But the company,
how do you deal with those CEOs?
China is eating the tariffs right now.
What do you say to those CEOs?
The problem is with a tariff, if the consumer does not want to pay, then that means a company ate it. That means China ate it, right?
Who were saying we might have to pass this on to the consumer.
Well, they say that because maybe it's to their advantage to say it.
Will you punish them?
No, because you know what? I want them to build plants in the United States. That way they don't have any tariffs. See, tariffs will, and not only will, look at what's happened. In 2 months, we're close to $9 trillion of investment. We've never been anywhere near that.
Right on. People people are a little, I don't want to say they're upset. They're just kind of weary about the tariffs. They don't know what's going to happen. But I have confidence in it. I think it's going to be the best thing for us. We get a bunch of this cheap Chinese garbage we don't need over here. There's just... It's ruining our economy, all in the name of some cheap plastic trinket from China.
Well, prices are already going up on some popular items. Tires, strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already. Prices are down on groceries. Prices are down for oil. Prices are down for all energy. Prices are down at tremendous numbers for gasoline. And let me tell you, when you have the big thing, what he did, he spent like a stupid person, which he was, but he spent like a very stupid person, and that was bad for inflation. But what really killed us with inflation was the price of energy. It went up to $3.90, even $4, and in California, $5 and $6, right? Okay. I have it down to $1.98 in many states right now. When you go...
Let's pause. Now, when he says gas is down to $1.98 in some states, in many states, people are going to get on TV and say, well, it's not that cheap. I didn't pay that much. I live in Laguna Beach, California, and I pay $85 a gallon. Well, you live over there in Gavin Newsom land, okay? Come to other parts of the country, and you're going to see a different story.
That much lower on energy, which is ahead of my prediction, because I really thought I could get it down into the 250s. We have it down at $1.98 in numerous places. But when you say costs are going up, even mortgage rates are going down.
Well, but let me give you some examples. These are actual examples. So you're saying the prices that are going down, some prices are going up. Tires, strollers, some clothing in the wake of your tariffs.
Excuse me, that's peanuts compared to energy. Energy is 60% of the cost.
But sir, you campaigned on a promise.
Let's pause. Now, Kristen Welker is going to point out individual things. Okay, your T-shirt that cost $12.99 is now $14.99. It might have gone up $2. Okay, people are going to say, well, look, see, that's a consumer eating the cost, but you're not seeing the big picture. You're not seeing the overall picture. If energy is down, that's going to be a thing that's more important than that T-shirt going up $2. Much more important, because you can do without that T-shirt that has some kind of random saying on it. Okay, I survived with the Welker Chocolate Factory. Okay, that T-shirt, do you really need that? Do you need 15 of them? What's more important, the gas or the T-shirt? You got to have the gas to put in your car. You got to have fuel to get into an airplane and go point A to point B. You got to have fuel to go into a bus, your city bus, to go point A to point B. All those things are going to impact your life a lot more than a T-shirt.
Promise to bring prices down on day
Well, I don't know. When you say strollers are going up, what kind of a thing? I'm saying that gasoline is going down. Gasoline is thousands of times more important than a stroller someplace.
But what do you say to Americans who say they voted for you because they want and they need relief right now?
And they're getting it.
Right now? What about those
even mortgage rates?
different items I just
mortgage
mentioned?
rates.
Well, look, the relief comes in the things that have gone down. Just because other things are up still does not mean they're not getting any relief. If you point to a stroller being more expensive, that's fine, but you're not pointing to the other things that are less expensive. Hey, I'm paying way too much at the gas pump. I got to put gas in my car to go to work. I work 45 minutes away. I'm going to need gas in my car. Since Trump came in, I'm able to pay sometimes $1, sometimes $2 per gallon less.
Rates are going down despite the fact that we have a stubborn Fed.
But you said even dolls could cost a couple bucks more.
Maybe they might, but you don't need to have, as I said, $35. You can have 2, 3, 4 and save a lot of money. We don't need to feed the beast.
Exactly. We don't need to feed the beast. You get in. Earlier in the interview, he was like, you don't need $250. You can have 5. It's not that deep, because as I close, I want to say this. The whole thing with the tariffs, and again, there's more to that interview, of course, but I'll link to it in the box. The whole thing with the tariffs people are complaining about is some of the trinkets, some of the plastic gadgets, the drop ship stuff. They're worried about that going up by $5 or whatever it is. But see, that, I think, is the wrong thing to worry about. You got to worry about your overall cost of living, your necessities, because those things are going up. You could do without having a bunch of toys and plastic garbage. You could do without that. You can't do without food. You can't do without water. You got to have gas in your car. You got to have somewhere to live. So the things that you must have, your necessities, those are the focus of deflation rather than things you don't need. And to be totally honest, I hope that some of these things you don't need stay expensive, because a lot of y'all got shopping addictions, cannot put the Amazon app away. You cannot put the Temu, the Shein, the Fashion Nova app away. And all of that useless just spending is helping China and other nations around the world bolster themselves militarily and all of that, so they can be a direct threat against us. They make everything, we make nothing. We buy all their stuff, they don't buy any of our stuff. There's a big imbalance there. And at a certain point, somebody got to do something about it. And if your t-shirt costs $2 more, then it is what it is. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Did you watch the entire interview? What's your thoughts on it? Was it a good interview, bad interview, somewhere in between? How about Kristen Welker? Did she do a good job, not a good job? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. It was a great interview. It's a must watch. I watched the entire thing. I don't always watch entire things like this, but you got to watch it. It was great. Kristen Welker did a pretty good job considering where she's at. Look, if she was on Fox News, I think she'd be a lot better. I think she's a good journalist. She just happens to be working for NBC and they have marching orders. So she got to say certain things. But I think if she was not on that network, she could do a lot better. 100%. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.